Alright, this is Kevin Douglas playing Vintage on MTGO. We're running Goblins today. So we have a turn 1 Thorn. I think we'll keep. Not sure what they're running, so it's always kind of a risk, you know, exhausting a bunch of resources to like do like a turn 1 Thorn when you know, maybe it doesn't even matter. Well, no, they're at least blue-white. So I think we Wasteland and run out the Skirk Prospector. At least get a little bit of a clock going. And in a pinch we can kind of use it to accelerate our mana into like maybe this Ringleader. Alright, so they're stuck on 1 land, it looks like. And starting to have to discard, so there goes that dig through time. So we could get rid of the Skirk Prospector and go Krenko. They do have force mana up, so I think we just wait. I'd rather push one of these cards through when we have a pretty good opening. Because right now we're just kind of walking into a Force of Will. And we have to get rid of our Skirk Prospector to do it. So with 3 mana, if they tap out here, then I think I'll probably go Ringleader next turn. Actually, Krenko seems pretty good. So Krenko is going to demand an immediate answer. So I think we just jam it and go for it. So they've got Jace available to loot. They still have 7 cards. I don't think we're going to be able to keep them like too short on mana for long. But if they can't get rid of this Krenko, then we're in a really good position. And there's some fun things you can do with Krenko and Skirk Prospector. So this is probably going to be a Swords to Plowshares for Krenko. Nope, so they're going to be digging for an answer. So next turn we'll be able to Krenko, make 2 more Goblins, and then Gempalm Incinerate the Bryn's Prodigy. Yeah, I bet they'd love to strip mine that Cavern of Souls, but with that Thorn, it just taxes their mana pretty badly. Yeah, so I think we will Krenko. Incinerate. Can't play Thalia, although that would be pretty amazing. And I think we try to run out Chalice. We're gonna have to sacrifice a Goblin token to do that. So this is probably a Force of Will. I just don't know if there's like really a better opportunity to play it. Maybe it would be better to keep the other Goblin around so Krenko gets bigger faster.
With Spotify Premium, there's music in everything. Listen to your collection anywhere without a connection.
So it looks like they exiled Gitaxian Probe. I'd really love to draw some white mana to get the Thalia through. Even a Cavern of Souls would be really good. I'd probably name Human just to make sure this resolved. So there's Lotus. I could resolve a Mentor here. And there's just kind of a race for tokens. In which case I think Krenko's looking pretty good with that Thorn of Amethyst out. But they're tapping for 5, which makes me wonder if they're going for a Jace here. Nope, they really are going for Mentor. Let's see if they use one of that white on a Swords for Krenko. I always want to call it a path when I'm recording videos. I've just played a lot of Modern. So if they can't find... Well, now they don't actually have the mana to pay for one, even if they find it. So it's just going to be backbreaking for them on one land if we're able to cast this Thalia next turn. Oh, so they were actually able to play a land, and so if they did find a swords, then we definitely want to be in as good of a position. But they're gonna elect a treasure cruise instead. So I've been playing a lot of blue decks in the tournament practice room today, and against a lot of blue decks. And it's just kind of amazing the difference in the number of cards that they draw compared to me. So instead of drawing a white mana to cast our Thalia, we just drew another Thalia, which is kind of like a little slap in the face. But that's fine. And I think we Krenko here just in case they're on like they are Just Guy, so they could be running like a Sudden Shock, which actually wouldn't kill Krenko, so I guess I'm not too worried about that. So with this Skirk Prospector, I could get the Goblin Warchief down. This turn, don't think I need to though. I think I'll wait till next turn. I could attack here, but I don't think I really need to. Because I think all that would happen is they might just not block, which would be good for us. But they could have killed our Ringleader, but that would have let both the Goblin Prospector through. I really want to keep this Prospector though, and so really I'd probably just attack with the Ringleader and the Goblin. Yeah, maybe I should have. I think they would have blocked the Monastery Mentor to the Goblin. So tapping for 3 makes me think they didn't find their swords. You'll hear me talk about swords a lot with this deck, just because that's the card that really hurts me. I do rely on synergy, so stuff like Warchiefs and Krenkos, I kind of need them to stick around. But they're going to have mana to cast it if they were able to find it off that Gush. But if they're not able to, then we're going to be able to Ringleader next turn after we cast that Warchief and a Lackey. And then all their dudes are going to be 1/1s, and we're going to swing them with an army of, I don't know how many Goblin tokens, but quite a few. So the board's not too bad. But our Krenko's definitely looking pretty good here. Oh, perfect. So Thalia is great. It does mean that we're not going to be able to cast that Lackey, but I think it's worth it. So I think we just swing in with all of our Goblin tokens. And so that is 14. We can swing in with that. We can swing in with that. I think we keep our Warchief behind. I just don't want to get double blocked. And with that Thalia out, I don't think they're going to be able to play too many spells. Maybe leave the Prospector back. It does give us a lot of mana if we draw into like another Goblin Ringleader. No, actually I'm just going to attack with all of them, and then I'll use one of the unblocked ones. I'll sack it to cast the Goblin Lackey to have another blocker up. I'm just kind of worried about how much prowess they can get next turn. I don't think they can get that much with the Thalia and the Thorn out. Because their first spell is going to cost them the 2 mana they already have. We know they've gushed a few times, so we know they have more mana. But I think they're really just going to be kept to 1 spell next turn. You know what? I didn't think about the fact that they blocked the Skirk Prospector, so I can actually cast this Lackey. But I think we're still in a pretty good spot. They're down to 1 life. They'd have to completely wipe our board or kill us this turn. I think that'll be tough through the Thalia and Thorn. Alright, so going to the sideboard. I think we want some Ethersworn Canonists. I don't think Piledriver is quite as good here. They can make a lot of blockers. I mean, getting rid of Goblins does make our Ringleaders a little bit worse. I think we want a Sulfur Elemental. Obviously, Pyrokinesis seems like it'd be good. Could even answer like a turn 1 Mentor. I think we can probably get rid of Null Rods. Maybe just bring in a couple Path. Have some extra ways to interact with Mentor. So we've got the Pyrokinesis, Path to Exiles, and Gempalm Incinerator. I think that looks okay. So we have a Sulfur Elemental. We have a way to get a turn 2 Warchief on the board. Actually, a turn 1. So we'll keep, if they do get like a turn 1 Mentor, we could Sulfur Elemental with Cavern of Souls as like a last ditch sort of thing. So if we draw a land here, I'm going to be tempted to Wasteland their Tundra. Because I really want to keep them off Gush. So depending on what land they play here, I might also strip mine that. So I thought Null Rods were going to look pretty bad, but they actually don't look too bad right now. I mean, they're kind of bad for me because I have Mox Ruby, but it'd be worse for them. Yeah, it'd be pretty lopsided right now. So I think we go Warchief here. And then I'll set us up to either run out Krenko next turn or Goblin Ringleader. They got 6 cards though, and they have a lot of mana. So I'm sure that our, you know, they might not let us just do whatever we want. So they'll strip mine, search for an island. I think we'll probably strip mine that, keep them off Gush. We are pretty light on land. And they keep drawing cards. There are already 8 cards ahead of us. So it's likely they still have more land.
With Spotify Premium, you can handpick that epic song and play it instantly. No shuffling required, even on mobile. Try Premium free.
And all of our cards are pretty expensive, so if they get rid of the, especially if they get rid of the Goblin Warchief, we're pretty far away from casting anything. Makes me wonder if we just need to start casting some goblins. I could Matron into a what would I Matron into? Like a Goblin Lackey? Yep, so I'll force that. Which I'm fine seeing some forces get used up. I really want to make sure I can resolve that Sulfur Elemental when I need to. Kind of another reason I don't want to waste that strip mine right now. Because I really do need a 3rd land. So we can't cast that Goblin Warchief because the Strip Mine doesn't tap for red. So there are 5, 6, 7, 8. See if there's a dig through time here. Nope, so now they've got Gush going. So here's Mentor. So now if we find that red land, the Sulfur Elemental is looking pretty good. They are going to get to see that we have it. So there they gush again. So now they are 14 cards ahead of us. So they still have 2 mana floating, 8 cards now. Island they can tap, but it's all blue. Yep, so there's a good game. It took them a while to get through all that. I think they were pretty lucky to get all those Mox that game. I don't think that's a good enough reason to bring in the Null Rods. Although, it actually might not be too bad because with how much they gush, you know, they kind of rely on those mana rocks. I think I might bring in a Null Rod. I don't actually know if that Pyrokinesis is that great. We'll see. If I draw a Null Rod and I wish it was a Pyrokinesis, then I'll know I made a mistake. So this hand would have been great if had some mana. This hand's not that good, but we're going to go ahead and keep. Hopefully resolve some of these thorns. Unfortunately, with the way my hand is set up, I'd have to get rid of that other thorn. So I could double Simian Spirit Guide. That's kind of tough. I think I want to keep that one because this one's going to eat a counter and then I'm going to be able to cast that next one next turn. So we were kind of spending a lot of resources trying to resolve these thorns, but especially in like a Gush Mentor deck, I think it's just super important to have these taxing effects. So if we're able to draw another land here, we're in really good shape. Not what we wanted. So we're slowing them down, but we're not really doing anything in the meantime. That's not usually a good place to be. Especially when they're hitting all their land drops. So like if they just jam out a Mentor here, then even at like a spell a turn, it's still going to be kind of rough. So drawing that Path to Exile is really good. Unfortunately, it does give him another land to work with. We might just see another Mentor here. And now they actually have an island up. So if they need to Force of Will. But they might just like Ataxian Probe or play Black Lotus. Yeah, so it's not looking promising. Oh my gosh. So that's a bummer. So unfortunately that's going to be a little bit slow. Kind of banking on their hand being kind of bad, but with 4 cards to work with and 2 Mentors, I think this is going to get out of hand. We're really going to need to draw into that Sulfur Elemental. Yeah, I don't think... Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I lost that one. Went to Force there. Yeah, we have a lot of good hate cards in this matchup. I think just kind of getting trapped into that... the 2 Thorns in the beginning without really any action to back it up. Like I said, I think it's kind of a little bit of a trap. It looked really good, but without like anything to apply pressure, then just kind of let them get away with it. So, oh well.